What if every tear you shed could bring unimaginable wealth, but also death? This is the story of Olachi, the girl who cried diamonds. Olachi was not like other children. Her mother Ada had waited for many years for a child. People in the village mocked her, whispered behind her back, and called her barren. Even though her husband loved her dearly, his family pressured him. They said that a house without children was an empty house, and that Ada had failed him. For years she tried and prayed, but nothing changed. Because of the pressure, he took a second wife. The second wife gave him many children, one after the other. The house filled with the laughter and noise of babies. The village celebrated them, but Ada remained empty. She spent her days quietly, her heart heavy, feeling the sting of whispers and the coldness of her husband's family. One hot afternoon, Ada went into the forest and sat under a giant iroko tree. She cried until her body shook, tears soaking the dry leaves beneath her. And as she cried, something ancient, something older than the village, seemed to stir. The forest whispered to her. It did not speak with kindness. It did not promise mercy. It simply said, "You will have a child, but on the day the child is born, you will leave it." Ada's heart trembled. She knew what the words meant, but she wanted a child more than she feared the cost. She agreed. In time, she became pregnant. The village was surprised, the family stunned, and when the day came, Ada gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. Her heart filled with love in those first moments. But then, she closed her eyes and was gone. The child lived. That child was Olachi. Olachi grew up in her father's house under the shadow of a stepmother who did not love her. The stepmother gave her too much work, spoke to her harshly, and gave her little food. Olachi walked from sunrise to sunset, washing, cooking, cleaning, carrying heavy loads, and slept in corners where no one bothered to check if she was warm. Then one evening, it happened. Olachi cried. She cried quietly at first, tears falling down her cheeks, but these were not ordinary tears. Where they touched the earth, they turned into diamonds. Small at first, almost imperceptible, but glinting in the moonlight. The stepmother saw it. She froze. A slow, dark smile spread across her face. From that moment, everything changed. The stepmother began to force Olachi to cry. If she did not cry, she would be beaten. If she did not cry, she would go hungry. If she did not cry, she would work harder than before. And each time Olachi cried, diamonds fell. The stepmother collected them, selling some in secret, hiding others, growing rich and comfortable. The house became full of wealth, full of food, full of clothing, while Olachi grew thinner, quieter, and weaker. At first, the stepmother thought she was lucky. Nothing seemed to go wrong. But slowly, something began to happen. Her children began to fall ill. The first child developed a fever that would not leave. The second child started coughing until it bled. The third child could not stand up again. And still, the stepmother forced Olachi to cry, needing the diamonds. More tears, more wealth, more suffering. One by one, 4 of her children died. The house became silent. The laughter and joy of her family were replaced with grief and terror. The last child, a small boy, was weak and trembling, watching everything unfold, afraid to sleep, afraid to breathe, afraid to cry. The stepmother did not understand at first. She thought it was a curse, or perhaps misfortune. But every time Olachi cried, more diamonds fell, and every time a tear fell, her own children suffered. Yet, her greed was stronger than her fear. She could not stop. She could not give up the wealth that came from the girl's pain. Then one night, the stepmother had a dream. She found herself standing in the forest under the old Iroko tree where Olachi's mother had once cried. The air was heavy, and something ancient and watching spoke to her. What you forced from her was taken from yours. You took what was not yours. The stepmother woke screaming, trembling, her heart heavy with terror. She ran outside. Olachi sat quietly, exhausted, her face streaked with tears. She was too weak to cry anymore. The stepmother fell to her knees. "Stop, please, no more. I didn't know." But it was too late. 4 graves remained behind the house, silent witnesses to the greed that had taken so much. The last child slowly recovered, but the house never healed. The stepmother never forced Olachi to cry again. She had seen the cost of her actions, and the weight of death rested on her forever. Olachi grew older, and her tears no longer brought diamonds whenever she cries sometimes. She walked through the village quietly, her presence heavy with the memory of what had happened. People still whispered about her. They said her tears carried power beyond understanding. They said that the forest had watched over her, that something ancient had protected her even while others suffered. And the lesson of her story spread across the village, told from mother to daughter, father to son. Do not take from another what is not yours. Do not force someone to suffer for your gain, because sometimes the price comes back to you, and it can be heavier than you ever imagined. Olachi lived, but the house that had tried to exploit her tears never recovered. 4 graves remained, and the village never forgot.